The galaxy was vast and ancient, its stars spinning against a backdrop of history carved by conquest and subjugation. At its heart stood the Galactic Empire, a monolithic power that spanned 1,000 systems, ruled by an iron-fisted emperor whose word was unchallenged. Beneath the weight of its dominion lived dozens of species, their cultures homogenized, their worlds drained for the Empire's insatiable hunger. The Empire had endured for centuries, driven by arrogance and the unyielding belief that no challenge could shake its foundation. But that was before humanity entered the galactic stage. Humanity was a newcomer, a species barely 2 centuries removed from its first interstellar voyages. To the Galactic Empire, the humans of Sol were an irrelevance, a young, brash species whose reach extended to only a handful of colonized worlds. Yet within their short years, humanity had developed technologies and tactics that confounded even the brightest of the Empire's analysts. Unpredictable, resourceful, and most unsettling of all, utterly unafraid of failure. Still, humanity remained a distant curiosity, far from a true concern. That perception changed during what was supposed to be a diplomatic gesture of goodwill. The humans called it the Unity Summit, an attempt to bring together alien species from both the Empire and independent territories to foster peace and collaboration. Representatives of humanity's fledgling interstellar alliance worked tirelessly to build bridges, driven by a belief in mutual respect, a concept as alien to the Empire as the species it ruled. The summit took place on Kellyan 4, a neutral colony world chosen for its symbolic position at the edge of Empire-controlled space. Among the delegation was Captain Elena Reyes, a decorated officer of the Sol Defense Fleet known for her sharp instincts and unflinching determination. She had no illusions about the precarious nature of the summit, but she also harbored hope. Sometimes, she told her crew on arrival, "One small crack is all you need to split a mountain." The Empire's delegation was led by Grand Proctor Valer Archon, an unyielding figure clad in the Empire's ceremonial obsidian armor. Archon embodied everything humanity found repugnant in the Empire: cold superiority, blind loyalty to the Emperor, and a disdain for anything he deemed lesser. From the moment his fleet descended, Kellyan 4 became a powder keg. Tensions boiled over on the second day of negotiations. The details were murky, lost amidst conflicting reports. Some said a human diplomat made an unintentional breach of protocol, offending Archon's pride. Others whispered of a carefully orchestrated plot. An explosion detonated in the main hall that killed several high-ranking Empire officials. The official Empire account painted humanity as the aggressor, though the Alliance vehemently denied involvement. Regardless of the truth, the response was swift and unforgiving. In a broadcast that lit up the stars, the Emperor himself appeared, his image a towering, holographic specter that loomed across screens in every corner of human-controlled space. "You dare to spill Imperial blood," he intoned, his voice cold and venomous. "You dare to mock our grace and generosity with your insolence. Let the galaxy bear witness. The humans have chosen death." With a wave of his hand, fleets were mobilized. The Empire's war machine churned to life, its vast arsenal aimed squarely at the Sol system. News of Kellyan 4 spread like wildfire, leaving humanity in a state of stunned silence. Millions grieved the loss of the colony's population, obliterated in a preventative strike before the Empire's armies even engaged. But what the Empire miscalculated was humanity's reaction to grief. A species tempered by centuries of strife did not crumble. Instead, humanity answered with a challenge of its own. President Arjun Patel addressed a unified Earth and its colonies from the Sol Defense Council chambers. His calm demeanor carried the weight of Earth's resolve. "They believe us fragile," he began, his words resonating across every human world. "They see our laughter and mistake it for weakness. But if they think this war will break us, then let them come. They will find that humanity does not yield. Humanity rises." And his lips curved into a defiant smile. "We're going to enjoy this." On the edge of known space, Captain Elena Reyes sat in the command seat of her ship, the Resolute Horizon. Her crew worked in silence, tension thick as they awaited their orders. She stared at the stars, now filled with the invisible currents of war, and clenched her fists. "They brought this fight to our doorstep," she said, her voice steady yet steel hard. "Let's make them regret it." The fleet around her hummed to life, engines flaring as humanity prepared its reply to the greatest power the galaxy had ever known. For all the Empire's might, it had failed to learn one crucial truth about its new enemy. Humanity had never played by anyone's rules but its own. War erupted like a storm across the galaxy, its shockwaves reshaping alliances and igniting rebellion. Yet even as the Empire's fleets moved to overwhelm humanity's defenses, the spark of resistance burned brighter. The Galactic Empire might have underestimated many species over its long reign, but its greatest miscalculation lay in its understanding of humanity. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the Resolute Horizon, her eyes fixed on the holographic display detailing the Empire's advancing armada. Around her, the crew worked with grim determination, their motions precise yet charged with barely contained energy. Reyes had grown used to the steady rhythm of preparation, calculations, strategies, and contingencies. But beneath that structure was the electric hum of human ingenuity, a force the Empire had yet to reckon with. "They've hit Epsilon Colony," Lieutenant Kai Chun, her tactical officer, reported. "Initial scans indicate at least 4 battlecruisers and a small escort fleet. Survivors are evacuating to sublight shelters, but they're calling for reinforcements." "And the civilian casualty projections?" Reyes asked, her tone sharp but measured. Chun hesitated. 75% if we don't intervene." The silence that followed was heavy. Reyes turned her attention back to the hologram, assessing every element of the enemy fleet. 75%, she repeated quietly. "Not on my watch." Her voice hardened as she straightened. "Initiate Operation Mirage." Operation Mirage was one of many unconventional strategies developed in humanity's desperate bid to defend itself. Conventional warfare had proven disastrous against the Empire's sheer numbers. But humans had never been a species to rely on brute force. Instead, humanity fought with precision and creativity, using every weapon, technology, and psychological advantage at its disposal. The Resolute Horizon and its escort fleet emerged from hyperspace, just outside Epsilon Colony's defense perimeter. The Empire's ships loomed ahead, their monolithic shapes bristling with weapons. They were bigger, stronger, and more advanced in nearly every way. Yet size and firepower were not enough to guarantee victory. "Deploy drones," Reyes commanded, her voice cutting through the tension. "Full spectrum cloak. Let's make them chase ghosts." On her orders, swarms of unmanned drones flitted out into the void, equipped with advanced holographic projection arrays. To the Empire, the void now appeared alive with false images. Illusory fleets of human warships suddenly materialized, darting between asteroid fields and distant moons. Empire gunners fired indiscriminately, wasting time and resources on empty shadows. As the enemy vessels scrambled to regroup, Reyes struck. With pinpoint precision, the Resolute Horizon targeted the fleet's support ships, the vulnerable supply vessels carrying munitions and fuel reserves. Explosions rippled across the Imperial formation, disrupting their coordination and turning a perfectly structured assault into chaotic retreat. "Tactics over brute force," Chin murmured as the battle unfolded. Reyes smirked faintly. "That's the idea. Keep them guessing." The Empire had yet to understand that humanity thrived under pressure. Generations of overcoming challenges, on Earth and beyond, had made adaptability second nature. Each defeat brought new ideas, and every mistake led to improvements. Unlike the rigid command hierarchies of the Empire, where orders flowed unchallenged, humanity's decentralized strategy allowed for innovation at every level. Soldiers in the field were encouraged to think critically, exploiting weaknesses as they saw them. A perfect example had unfolded only weeks earlier in the Galen Nebula, where a lone human frigate had lured a superior Imperial fleet into a deadly ion storm. Using a mix of modified probes and feigned distress signals, they baited the enemy into devastating atmospheric discharges, crippling 3 capital ships without a single human casualty. The story spread rapidly, invigorating the human resistance. They thought this would be over by now, Reyes said, her gaze lingering on the tactical display as the remnants of the Imperial fleet fled the sector. But we're proving something they've never had to face before. What's that? Chen asked, his eyes bright with curiosity. Reyes's expression darkened, though her resolve never faltered. A war they can't predict. Across the galaxy, the Empire scrambled to reassert dominance. But their allies, alien species long oppressed by the Imperial system, were beginning to take notice. Humanity's defiance was unlike anything they had seen, resourceful, daring, and maddeningly unpredictable. It gave the oppressed a sliver of hope, one they could not ignore. Whispers of rebellion began to spread, small at first, but growing louder with each human victory. On the deck of the Resolute Horizon, Reyes leaned back in her chair, the adrenaline of combat fading to quiet resolve. "We bought them time," she said, her voice low as though speaking to herself. "Now we have to show the galaxy what freedom means, what it's worth." From the corner of the bridge, Chen watched her with something close to awe. Her vision extended beyond battles or star systems. Every engagement was a step toward something greater, a goal not yet spoken aloud but driving them all forward. It was that purpose that turned this war from an impossible burden into something humanity embraced. Not out of naivety, but from an unyielding belief in their right to exist. The stars stretched wide around the fleet, countless battles still ahead. But as the Resolute Horizon disappeared into hyperspace, humanity had already proven one unshakable truth to the galaxy. They would not fall quietly. The air in the war room was taut with anticipation, the flickering glow of holographic displays illuminating the faces of Earth's top commanders. Captain Elena Reyes stood at the center, her expression carved from stone as her crew briefed her on the Empire's latest moves. For months, humanity had turned desperate skirmishes into unlikely victories, gaining ground against a behemoth that had loomed for centuries. But now, the Galactic Empire was no longer content to sit on its throne. Its emperor had ordered the Eclipse Armada, the most destructive fleet in galactic history, to crush humanity at all costs. Final projections indicate their target is Rigel's Reach, our largest remaining manufacturing hub, Lieutenant Kai-Chen said, his fingers dancing across his console. The hologram adjusted to show an intricate network of industrial satellites and defense platforms orbiting a barren, mineral-rich moon. "If they take Rigel's Reach, it'll cripple our ability to field ships for months," Reyes said, the weight of the situation evident in her voice. She glanced at the assembled commanders, her fiery gaze meeting each of theirs. Suggestions? Admiral Arun Vasquez, a grizzled veteran with a tactical mind sharpened by years of experience, leaned forward. "We can't match them ship for ship, but we can bleed them. Their overconfidence is an opportunity. If we control the battleground, they'll throw everything into the fight, and that's when we break them." Reyes nodded, her thoughts already assembling the bones of a strategy. Humanity's recent victories had proved the Empire's arrogance was its greatest weakness, a flaw she intended to exploit once more. "We'll turn Rigel's Reach into a trap," she said. "Prepare every stealth ship and decoy we have. I want the skies so full of targets they won't know what's real until it's too late." The plan was bold, bordering on reckless, but it embodied the essence of humanity's resistance. Where the Empire relied on overwhelming firepower and rigid doctrine, humanity thrived on adaptability, creativity, and risk. 3 days later, the Eclipse Armada emerged from hyperspace like an unstoppable tidal wave. Dreadnoughts bristling with weapons filled the dark, their shields shimmering with the energy of entire stars harnessed for war. At their forefront was the Emperor's flagship, the Imperial Radiance, a vessel so colossal that its silhouette eclipsed Rigel's faint sun. Yet as the Imperial fleet advanced, they encountered an unsettling sight. hundreds of human ships positioned with chaotic precision, spread out like scattered prey. The Empire's admirals, schooled in centuries of brutal conquest, issued orders with confidence. Fire poured across the stars, slicing through decoys and destroying fleets that split apart like leaves in a storm. But it was all part of humanity's plan. From the shadow of Rigel's largest asteroid, Reyes watched the carnage unfold. "Initiate Phase 2, she commanded, her voice calm but brimming with tension. At her signal, dozens of cloaked cruisers darted out from their hiding spots, slipping through the gaps in the Empire's sprawling formations. The battle turned sharply as humanity's hidden fleet struck with surgical precision, targeting the weak points of the Empire's juggernauts. Exposed fuel lines, poorly defended weapon arrays, and overburdened shield generators. Explosions rippled across the void, silencing the larger vessels one by one. The Empire's admirals, rattled but defiant, attempted to reorganize, but it was too late. Humanity's chaos was a strategy, their unpredictability the deadliest weapon of all. As the Imperial fleet faltered, Reyes gave the final order. All ships, focus on the Radiance. The Emperor himself watched from the command deck of his flagship, fury etched into every line of his face. For the first time in centuries, he realized he was losing, not to superior firepower or numbers, but to a species that refused to play by his rules. Humanity's combined fleet bore down on the Radiance, launching everything they had. Swarms of bombers crippled its defenses, while elite strike teams infiltrated its corridors. Reyes led one such team, carving a path toward the Emperor's throne room. When she finally stood before him, battered but unbroken, the Emperor stared her down, his voice cold and venomous. "You cannot defeat me. I am the Empire." Reyes raised her weapon, her expression unwavering. "And we are humanity. Your empire ends today." In the silence that followed, the Radiance erupted in a brilliant explosion, visible from the farthest reaches of the battlefield. The Eclipse Armada, leaderless and broken, scattered into the void. Rigel's reach stood intact, humanity victorious. As Reyes returned to the resolute horizon, her thoughts turned not to triumph but to the future. The Empire had been dealt a devastating blow, but the war was far from over. The oppressed species of the galaxy now looked to humanity, not just as warriors, but as leaders in a fight for freedom. "We've started something bigger than ourselves," she said quietly, gazing out at the stars. "Now we have to finish it." And so, with the galaxy at a crossroads and a new chapter waiting to be written, humanity rose to meet its destiny.